This is a little unusual as the Toastmaster is now introduced an evaluator who will be introducing them as a speaker. This is great. Shane has prepared a pocket speech for us today. Now, February 2nd is Groundhog Day, a day when North America's largest rodent looks for a shadow and tells us if we're stuck repeating a few more weeks of winter or if we celebrate when spring comes a little sooner, the season of change a little sooner. Tonight, Shane will share a groundhog story with you in an attempt to entertain you and help you celebrate your season of change a little sooner. Please welcome Shane Sievers with The Shadow, Shane Sievers.
Have you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day? It's an American classic. No, it's an American treasure. Starring Bill Murray as Phil and co-starring Andie MacDowell as Rita, the love interest. Groundhog Day explores the scenario of what if? What if you were doomed to repeat the same day over and over? What if your actions had no consequences? What if you had the free time to learn how to carve ice sculptures with a chainsaw? Eventually, with an open mind and an open heart, Phil found his love in Rita and found his way out. I love this movie. I remember when my parents rented it back in 1993, and I faked being sick just so I could stay home on the couch and watch it a couple more times. The idea of having an infinite amount of time to explore, to learn, and to play around in a world that resets each morning was both frustratingly hopeless and endlessly enchanting. This isn't an idea that's just unique to Groundhog Day. In the movie Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise found his Rita in Emily Blunt and escaped his time continuum by defeating a telepathic alien hiding deep in the bowels of a power plant. In Palm Springs, spoiler alert, Andy Samberg falls in love with Kristen Miliotti's character to escape a wedding stuck in a repetition by way of an interdimensional quantum spaceport. They all explore a similar concept. They each have a similar Rita, a similar what if. What if I had an infinite amount of time to get it right, to live a day on repeat? The reality is, we don't have an infinite amount of time. Often, unfortunately, our days are on repeat, and our actions do have consequences. So we have to figure out how to break the cycle immediately, lest you be doomed to an eternity of failures, meeting needle-nosed Neds, or getting killed by aliens. You must break the cycle, because believe it or not, you might be on repeat. Tell me if you can relate to this. Monday morning, 7 a.m. Alarm clock goes off, you snooze it for 10 minutes. You finally get up, you walk past the kitchen, and you realize you didn't have the coffee maker set to auto brew. So now you lost a few minutes in the kitchen, and that only relieves time for about half a routine. You finally get in front of your computer at about 8:01, and you're already late for the meeting, so no webcam today. Come lunchtime, you've already pretty much given up on being productive today, so what's the harm in violating your dietary restrictions? Might as well eat yesterday's pizza. By the time dinner rolls around, you don't have it in you anymore, so you call for takeout again. Now, Netflix and chill. You got no motivation left in you, and the day's pretty much a wash. What's it gonna hurt to have one glass of wine? 2 glasses of wine later, you decide it's probably time for bed. Otherwise, you're gonna just be doing the same thing tomorrow. Tuesday morning rolls around, you hit snooze at 7 o'clock, no coffee, no workout, no camera. You're stuck in a cycle. You have to break out. One day, somebody tells you about Toastmasters. Now you see a way out. Now you found your Rita. But you're not done yet. It doesn't come without practice. You need participation to break the repetition, to find a better version of yourself. Toastmasters, tonight, instead of giving me a glow or a grow, I encourage you to take 2 minutes to sign up for your next role on next week's agenda or one future down the road. Because I believe that this club is full of a bunch of Ritas. We're all here to help you find out how to break your cycle. In the words of Sonny and Cher, then put your little hand in mine. There ain't no hill or mountain we can't climb. Babe, thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Shane. And I appreciate the opportunity to do this pocket evaluation for a pocket speech. I hadn't been planning on a speech this evening or an evaluation. And as soon as you announced that you had a pocket speech plan, I was excited, especially since you said you were going to entertain us. You delivered. You entertained us. With Groundhog Day, it is one of those days you cannot not think of that film. And you tied this in excellently to some other favorites of mine. In fact, especially with Edge of Tomorrow brought in there, which definitely got some props. This and thank you for realizing how that ties in with Groundhog Day. And this is where your speech really caught me right at the beginning, as you described the what if scenario, and then you repeated the what if, what if, what if, and it was brought back around later on into the speech as well, bringing us back to our own realities as opposed to these more entertaining fictional environments, which brought in the introduction. The reality, which, by the way, described perfectly a stay-at-home, work-from-home life, of which many of us have fallen into a routine up to and including that second glass of wine. Now, breaking that cycle, I did not actually see this point coming, and when it came, it was like, I needed to hear this too. It is so easy to fall into this rut. And I feel like the whole room, as I was watching the gallery view in this too, sort of collectively nodding at this point, tells me that this was resonating, which in terms of a pocket speech, which by the way, structurally felt very organized. If this was a pocket speech and you pulled this off without having any pre-planning on this is a masterclass in a pocket speech, and clearly a testimony to the experience that you have in this department. And I'm not saying that with any sort of patronizing or flattery. I'm impressed. This was one of those points that came into something that we could then tie directly to our Toastmasters, and frankly, I'm waiting for the hashtag I am Rita to start being a trend here or something. Maybe we'll see. But signing up for roles in advance, that really hit me right here. It's just so great whenever that happens, and to see the membership take on roles, planning ahead for the future, it puts a lot of pressure off of the leadership to be able to focus on running and conducting a great meeting. And what a perfect tie-in on the perfect day. Shane, I'm going to struggle to find some evaluation points for improvement on there, because the gestures and everything else in your environment I felt were spot on. You have a balanced room, your facial expressions, your enthusiasm, all this stuff, and your very manner of which this was presented was spectacular. Thank you for putting this on tonight. Appreciated the use of the time.
Thank you, Craig. Really appreciate the feedback.